Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV, and I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. I'm all over the place. I started blockchain and crypto today. I'm mute. I'm hitting the wrong banners. We're all over. It's Wednesday. Nonetheless, we're going to have a ton of fun today. It's going to be an exciting episode because we're talking about one of our favorite subjects, blockchain. And even more so, talking about FinTech and payments, what's happening in this space, but from the perspective of an investor and also as an entrepreneur. We had a huge news drop yesterday. First off, it was 420. That's Earth Day. It's 420. It was also Doge Day. Yeah, Doge Day. And with that, we had some exciting news. And why was it exciting? Because PayPal came out and launched their crypto button, as they've called it, and rolled it out to all 77 million of their Venmo users, allowing for anybody, any Venmo user, to now buy crypto for as little as $1. Now, those that they mentioned were Bitcoin, Ethereum. They talked about Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash as well. They were relying on Paxos to handle all of that, but even more so, just kept going. We also had Demi talking about maybe launching the stable coin that Facebook has been teasing out for us forever. We had Newegg, Beatport, and WeWork, big co-working company, come out and all say that they were going to start taking cryptocurrencies as methods of payments as well. So big news around the industry, but what does that mean? Let's dive into it. Let me introduce my co-host, but before I do, big thank you to the entire team at LaToken and to Maria for making today's episode of VCTV possible. Make sure to check us out on latoken.com for more of today's news and all being able to hear from all of the VCTV family around the world as well. Comment box is open. We'd love to hear from you. Say hi. With that, Adrian, welcome back to the show. Little intro, little background.
Hello, Kyle. Thank you very much for having me here again. Hello, everybody. I'm Adrian Niculescu, serial entrepreneur and investor. My genius zones are marketing, sales, and business development, and I love keeping my hands dirty in these areas. Besides my advisory roles and board membership slots, I'm actively involved with CloudCoin Consortium. CloudCoin is a post-blockchain digital currency, Faster Capital, a Dubai-based accelerator and incubator for startups. Sara Global Ventures, which is a London-based venture capital firm, and also I'm a mentor in Richard Branson's Virgin Startups program in UK. Happy to join this excitement topic today in VCTV family.
And we're happy to have you as well, Adrian. Gary, welcome back to the show. Little intro, little background.
Yeah, great to be here, Kyle. Great to see some friendly faces. My name's Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've done 17 companies, 2 unicorns, original management team at Click Software, sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I started 5 years ago with Dr. David Yang, a Silicon Valley-based company. Today, I'm the CEO, president, and co-founder of GST Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Silicon Valley. Our idea is that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities aren't. We use Silicon Valley as a port to the rest of the world, curating those companies and helping them grow the ideas that we want to create more unicorns. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you as well, Gary. And last but not least, Mitja, welcome to the show as well. It's a pleasure to have you. A little intro, a little background for everybody.
Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, my name is Mitja. Originally, I come from Slovenia, Europe. Entrepreneur by heart. Founded my first company when I was 22, and then gradually find my way to Silicon Valley, where I currently am. Currently, I'm the CTO and a co-founder of identity company called Globali. What we do is we're trying to make trust into a utility, so everyone, people and groups can interact, transact, and create value. And we're doing that by empowering users without compromising their control of data from previous business incentives or some vulnerabilities of centralization. So have you talk more about like the blockchain and identity aspect of fintechs?
Absolutely. And this is an important fact and something that does not get talked about enough when we look at blockchain and fintech as well. I mean, we're talking about our financial futures on all scales. Identity and security are huge portions of it. If Raghu was here, Gary, you know he'd be the first to jump in on that as well. So tons to talk about. in today. And gentlemen, I would love to hear from each of you what your thoughts are around the impact of yesterday's big news and something else that happened today. I mean, PayPal opening up not just their entire 300 million users, their 30 plus million merchants being able to buy and sell and transact with crypto, but now rolling that out to the peer-to-peer app Venmo here in the United States, giving 77 million people the ability to instantly buy, sell, and share those currencies. And then today, BitGo, something a little bit touching on what Mitja just mentioned, BitGo actually 7x'd their insurance amount from a custody standpoint. So BitGo was doing insurance for around $100 million in terms of digital currencies, and now have upped that to $700 million as of today due to their partnership with Lloyd's of London. So you've got more people, easier and faster on-ramps and ability to transact. And now you've got more insurance, something similar to FDIC, if you will, here in the States, to help protect those large buckets of digital currencies. What does this all mean? What are your thoughts on these two big announcements? Mitja, let's start with you, because they both have issues when it comes to security. So let's start with you. What are your thoughts on the big impact of PayPal, Venmo, and then BitGo's insurance?
Well, I think it was a long time coming, if you ask me. I mean, PayPal kind of already dropped bits and pieces. I mean, have been dropping bits and pieces in the last couple of years, and then especially with the rise of Cash App, for example. And Robinhood also allows you to trade crypto and so on. So it was a long time coming, but it is actually a really big day for crypto, for sure. We've seen some drops over the weekend saying, hey, maybe that there's going to be a regulation around Bitcoin, maybe they're going to prevent something. But I think PayPal actually they're going forward, they're doing this. Of course, we globally, we're looking at this more from identity perspective. So in case of PayPal, I would be interested to hear from them what are their thoughts on how do they make this secure? Because at the end of the day, it's still a centralized platform. As we know, Venmo was really prone to some of the fraudulent activities there. So I mean, I hope that, I definitely think this is a great step in the great direction, but there's still a lot more to be done.
Well, you're right. And this is just the beginning, but it's a big, big beginning. And I want to come back to security identity. And I know you focus on global ID, but it's a very, very important thing that people don't talk about. So we are going to come back to that. Adrian, I want to come to you. What does this mean? You've got more consumers, and now you've got more insurance. What's the impact of this as blockchain digital currencies really start to make a move into the FinTech world at a more aggressive scale here in 2021?
PayPal was used to shut down accounts pretty fast, and especially if you had any transfer, and if you sent an invoice, or if people sent money one to the other, and if they added in the explanation the word coin or Bitcoin or something like that, automatically the accounts were shut down, of course with exceptions. One of the big slowing down in the adoption of the cryptocurrencies is the perception related to the security of funds. Users trust PayPal. If you have a balance in PayPal, of course, if you don't do shady things, they are very secure there. So automatically, they will pass the sensation of security the users have to crypto. The fact that they are allowing their users to buy crypto from the PayPal account is a huge step forward, and it's another confirmation of the fact that we are in the mass adoption phase. We passed the mass awareness, and we are entering like crazy in the mass adoption phase. And the more users will trust crypto because they associate the security of funds with the security of PayPal and Venmo and other platforms, the more we'll jump in. And it's accessible. Even I saw crypto.com say you can buy Bitcoin starting with $1. So you can start very, very low. The barrier is very small. The entrance barrier is very small for the regular guys, which is huge.
It is. And crypto.com, I mean, they're partnered with Visa, they're partnered with many others to continue these on-off ramps and expanding them as well. So you're right, Adrian. Gary, same question. What's the impact of this when we look at the world of FinTech and how things have evolved over the last couple of years?
I mean, the situation, Kyle, this is similar to what happened to us during the time that there was a .com boom, and we were doing e-commerce. I remember I had one of the first e-commerce consulting companies, and people said, "Oh, I'm never ever going to order online. It's not secure. I'm not going to ever put my credit card online." I remember it. We did some of the top airlines, Delta, American Airlines, worked on their websites, groups like Walmart, etc. at the time, and look where we are today. I remember we were talking about as a $30 billion cottage industry. So what's happened is incredible. It's becoming mainstream. So good, bad, or indifferent, like it or not, it's becoming mainstream. We're crossing the chasm. People are adopting, looking at crypto. I mean, when you get PayPal, and remember, PayPal's not that old either, right? It's not like we're talking about companies that have been around 50 years. So we're talking about we've crossed the chasm. Now, if we look at the adoption, like on a worldwide basis, you're going to see people pick it up. Different age groups, different companies. As it becomes more mainstream, it moved away from the, and I remember when the cryptocurrencies first came out, people were talking about only drug dealers are using cryptocurrencies. But look at it now. I mean, I just literally, I don't know, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I was talking to a very wealthy individual who was telling me, did you buy any Bitcoin? I need to load up. And this is one of the most conservative people that I know. And so the situation is we're at the stage now. But here's the other thing is if you look at Ethereum and all the incredible capabilities that Ethereum has, and also Bitcoin, where's this going to shake out? And the other thing is, remember, whenever you come into a market like this, there are a lot of players that first come in all the time in technologies, but then they start getting weeded out. Look what happened with Facebook and Friendster and MySpace. I mean, in the name a few, they're going to be weeded out. The question is, who's going to win? There are clearly going to be winners, and right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are right at the top. But who are going to be the final winners? So we also have to look at security, as we talked about. It's trust. So Adrian was right on point. Because PayPal adopted it, there's now trust. It's like the UL stamp of approval, right? Underwriter's Lab. We now trust this. It's approved. So people are going to feel a lot better about it and start to use it. And you're just going to see a lot more mass adoption. So what's the impact going to be? It's just going to see a lot more people are going to do it a lot faster. PayPal customers, it's just going to dramatically increase the base, and some of the targets that they talk about for Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the other cryptos, they're going to start to realize those targets. They're not going to be far-fetched anymore.
You're right, and there's just so much more. I mean, again, this huge amount of insurance upgrade to me still is baffling. I mean, $100 million insured, now 7x that. You've got bigger and bigger names coming in. You've got some of the largest trusts, insurance companies, asset managers that are putting huge money to work in this industry to fuel the financial infrastructure that's being upgraded. And then, Mitja, don't worry, I'm coming to you on identity. This all leads somewhere. Do not worry. I see you ready. I mean, we also had RIT Capital Partners, RIT Capital Partners, which is managed. It's a big investment trust. Managed by Rothschild Capital, that took a huge stake in Kraken, the cryptocurrency exchange today. I mean, this is not small games anymore. I mean, one of the 100-plus-year-old asset managers did $100 million investment into blockchain.com this morning was announced. So it happened a little bit ago. I mean, these are big, big moves. And bringing up Tesla, I mean, now Tesla is not only, running a Bitcoin node, but they also allow for Bitcoin payments. We had Newegg and WeWork, as I mentioned earlier, that are now accepting digital currencies in reference of payment for their services, then putting that on their balance sheet. This is a rapid pace. Mitja, I'm gonna let you go because I feel like you got a lot to say. So I'm gonna pause there and then I'll come back to my question for you.
I mean, wanted to put an observation out there. It's a funny world we live in. It's not even a week since Coinbase made an IPO, and it's already yesterday's news, right? So nobody almost is talking about this because, as you mentioned, so many new things are coming out. I mean, yeah. I mean, as far as we are concerned, we always say identity is a permission to act, and we are kind of trying to figure out what is that trust. What are those trusted engagements that people are doing, and we believe in actually giving it back to the people and so on. So security is important, but it's not the only thing that's important. It's kind of means to an end at the end of the day, right? So we do this is a great step that PayPal has taken, and I think this will open a ton of opportunities. It's just, I don't know. I mean, if I were not doing Globali right now, I mean, I would be thinking, okay, how can I leverage now PayPal to actually do something else with this? Because crypto's here, it's not going away.
Well, and you're bringing up a very good point. I mean, PayPal gives you access. We're just going to call it, almost 400 million people. We'll just leave it there. It gives you access to hundreds of millions of people, plus all of those merchants as consumers. But what you're starting to kind of tease out there is now, what if you're building something? That's now infrastructure you can plug right in, and vice versa. Those users can have direct access, as Gary was mentioning, along with Adrian, and will have direct access to everything you're building, and you'll have access to every one of them along with all those merchants. That's game changing. I mean, that's exactly what you guys have part of what you've done at Global ID, creating this decentralized identity platform for so much of what is needed around security and identity.
Correct.
What's next when it comes to DID and decentralized identity for those out there? Why is this going to be more important than ever now that we have this mass adoption really starting to tick up, as Adrian referenced?
Well, I think the world is changing, and people are they're fed up with everything that, for example, how big companies are, in a way, I don't want to say misleading them, but they're just times where either they get hacked, either there's a 10-page terms of use kind of thing that nobody reads through, and they're basically selling your data and earning. I think that economy is about to change, and we are at the beginning kind of point of it. So this is what, in a way, we are trying to do, giving people back control, so you control your own data. You make, at the same time, we're trying to make it as secure as possible, because now we have these great smartphone devices where you can also prove that it's something that you have, not just something that like your password. So everything kind of enhances with that. And when it comes to decentralized identity, I mean, this is the new world. Some people call it Web 3.0 and so on. And I mean, just from Global ID's perspective, we have observed that a lot of early adopters of this technology are also crypto enthusiasts, because this is what people in a way believe in. And now that crypto is becoming mainstream, I think the IDs and everything are going to become mainstream too. I mean, it's just kind of bound to happen that they go hand in hand.
I think you're right. I mean, and they have to, right? We're going to have multiple identities, as we've talked about. Gary, Adrian, anything to add on to that question around the impact of decentralized identity in the future and why it's a need now as this adoption really starts to take? Gary, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I've talked about this on many panels. So identity, security, privacy, those are issues. And so, as you know, we work on a decentralized cybersecurity platform, SplitByte. So, the technology is not only about having it out there and creating the hype, but it's about making it safe so they don't get hacked. So we need to make sure that we catch up. The one thing, Kyle, as we've gone through this digital transformation, and my firm belief is because of the pandemic, it's really, from my own perspective, has really put crypto and blockchain to another level because of the digital transformation and because of people's more willingness to do transaction without being physically present. So it's really pushed things forward from my perspective. And at the same time, it's created this, kind of uncharted world because on one side, we know Bitcoin, we know Ethereum and some of the other cryptos. But on the other side, we got so many out there, people don't even understand what's out there anymore. They don't even know if you ask somebody, it's kind of like artificial intelligence and VAE. People talk about AI, but they don't have a clue what it is, right? And so part of the challenge is we need to make sure we educate people, because what we don't want to have happen is this, Dutch tulip phenomenon, and people start investing in these coins that they have zero idea what they are and end up getting burnt, and it creates a bad name for the market. So we got to be really careful that this irrational exuberance sometimes is warranted, because it's not for everybody, right? And I hear it more and more, and it's going to really hack, and I don't mean as a hacker sense, but really screw up everything if they don't start paying attention and aren't educated.
So I want to call something out real quick for the whole panel. So you mentioned the word investment, and I think we all are purview to this, that a lot of digital currencies people have looked at as store of value or investment opportunities. Yeah. We're now talking today about FinTech and payments. And we talked about Venmo opening this up. Venmo is a peer-to-peer payment process. Yeah. So are people, and the challenge, hold on 1 second, Gary, 1 second. Mm-hmm. The challenge is here is, I'm going to challenge the word investment. Because if you buy your Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, or Ethereum, are you really going to be trading that back and forth with friends? Are you really going to be using that for a cup of coffee? Are you really going to be paying your dinner with that? As we see this evolution, Adrian says that in his opening statement today that we're seeing the growth of mass adoption. Does that mean that those particular currencies, that's going to be what people are going to buy and sell and transact with? Or is it just the beginning of opening up to these other opportunities like central bank digital currencies and local digital currencies, et cetera? It's a controversial question, and I know it's debated throughout the industry. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'll tell you my view, and I have a daughter that's a millennial that's 25.
Please.
Robinhood, right?
Yeah.
And I'm on Coinbase. The situation is she trades it. She trades crypto and does a good job of it. I look at it as investment. Would I use it to buy things? Absolutely. But why would I want to do an appreciating asset? Why would I want to trade it? It doesn't make any sense. And I don't know about the rest of the members of the panel, but how many of you are trading it actively? I mean, I received Bitcoin, and I'm sick because I received it when it was $12,000 for payment for some services, and I wish I would have just kept it in the Coinbase. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. If you're afraid to spend it because you don't know, it's going to go up. I hear people talking about Shahal, who our mutual friend in Quorum, who's got like 1 million Bitcoins. When they talk about Bitcoin being 300,000 and Ethereum being 9,000 or 10 in the not too distant future, which is possible, by the way, it's 100% from my standpoint, 99.9% possible that could happen because of exactly what's happening today. There's mass adoption, and it's going to create a feeding frenzy. It's like feeding. I don't know if you've ever gone fishing where you put a little bait in the water and chum, and all of a sudden the fish start coming. You can put a hook in there. It doesn't matter. They'll bite on anything.
Mitja, you are chomping at the bit to jump into this conversation. I can see you right now. Go for it.
I mean, yeah, personally, I much rather am holding, and as Gary said, I'm very. I don't know if I would use it just to buy me a Tesla or something. So it's a different, but everybody have different positions on this. So I'm not trying to say one way or another. I mean, I think this is a good thing at the end of the day. I think it's a really good thing. To answer your question, Kyle, I would say a little bit of both. I think it just opens the doors on both sides, and it just kind of like, I think we are going to be in a roller coaster in the next couple of years, which is going to be great. It's going to be new things that are going to come out, new I don't know, ideas that are going to spur, and yeah, just going a little bit further back to what Gary also mentioned. Like with this pandemic, it also like accelerated everything, especially when it comes to, I want to say also cryptocurrencies and anything digitally related. I mean, we've observed that the fraud has gone through the roof everywhere, especially in like banking and fintech services. So having like the things that we're talking about today, I mean, this is on point. This is the beginning of something brand new, and I'm happy to be on this roller coaster ride, to be honest. So.
Heck yeah, it's a ton of fun. I mean, there's never a boring day. Maybe Mondays are a little slow, but the rest of the week is a rocket ship. So, Adrian,
Kyle, this weekend was pretty crazy, I gotta say.
Well,
I don't trade it. I don't know about you guys, so I'm not trading my cryptocurrencies, but I watch it. I do watch it, and I'm not going to trade one thing. But I'm telling you, I do watch it, and when it goes up and down, it's like I feel like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or Mr. Toad's Excellent Ride. It's crazy. And yet at the same time, we know it's going to happen. We're dealing in Africa a lot, and they're really skipping over the fintech companies there are skipping over, the legacy banks, et cetera, and moving into this whole peer-to-peer environment. It's just, those, and there's 1.2 billion people. So, we're kind of like antiques here, and now we're catching up, which is a good thing.
You're right. This weekend was a wild ride. This was a unique weekend. So I won't take that away. But Adrian, thoughts, comments, questions. We've talked about a lot of things. You've sat there on the sidelines patiently waiting. Any thoughts around identity, this payment and using digital currencies as payments through these applications like Venmo and others?
First, I would like to say something as a follow-up to what Gary said about Dogecoin. The thing is that if Elon Musk is saying something about Dogecoin, automatically is endorsing it. And what I'm seeing these days, we have the equivalent of Dogecoin on Ethereum, which is Shiba Inu. We have now Akita Inu, which is a challenger to Shiba Inu. And I saw a coin that will be launched in a few days called Husky. And they will also have like Husky Swap, like their versions of Uniswap. And I believe very soon every breed of dogs and maybe cats will have their own coins. I was saying maybe for utility they create some pet shops, online pet shops, to sell specialized products. Of course, the initial idea about a universal identity was to connect your identity with your social media profiles. This was an idea which circulated 3-4 years ago, but unfortunately it didn't stick. So it's the mission of decentralized platforms to create those universal IDs, universal identities, which can have legal power, which can have binding power, and which can't be influenced and maybe hacked. And this is a very good thing. And of course, the whole idea of cryptocurrency was decentralization and potentially anonymity of users. But as soon as you go on an exchange, automatically there is the KYC process. So and this data is stored somewhere, and your assets are tracked, are recorded. So you have to make your taxes. You have to not involve in shady things or in hacks or in things like that, because everything is tracked. So you need to do the good things, and of course to to be okay with the fact that your funds will be connected with your IDs. And of course, as said, decentralized platforms helping these universal IDs, maybe they will put this idea into its right place, so it will become a reality. I'm very happy to see such projects.
I agree. Now, rapid fire questions here as we kind of come to close. Miha, I'm going to save you for last because I know you got a lot to say, so I'm going to hold you for last. Gary, we look at FinTech, we look at payments, we look at what we've been talking about, artificial intelligence, quantum. How do those impact? How do those marry? How do those go south? What are your thoughts as to how AI...
That's a whole program in and of itself.
It is. How do you see AI playing a role in this along with quantum?
So let's look at the cybersecurity aspect. We've got quantum computers that are coming online. We've got bad actors out there, bad characters that can utilize those quantum computers to do all kinds of really not good things. So we have to focus on cybersecurity. It's got to be really top, and Miha and companies like SplitByte are really addressing the issue using decentralized methodology. So from that standpoint, quantum. On the other side, you've got artificial intelligence. When you start to combine unsupervised AI and quantum computers, you got a whole new world. Actually, so speed of transactions, intelligence within the system that's far beyond anything that we've ever seen before. So we've got the building blocks to create something really interesting, but we're going to have not smart but intelligent contracts. It's going to be an interesting world that it's interesting to see as humanity what role we play in it. To be honest with you, it's going to be so automated. The things are going to happen. You're going to just say, I want this done, and you're not going to have to do anything. It's not like you're going to be able to trade. It'll understand how you trade and the things you like and trade in that way. So, and it's going to level the playing field too, Kyle, because we talk about all these cryptocurrencies going up. It's going to level it up. So it doesn't matter where you're located. You're going to be just as smart as anybody else as long as you've got your intelligent assistant. You've got that kind of AI. And it's going to permeate everything that we invest in. It's going to I've seen some recently off the record or off track a little bit, but for real estate, being able to understand what's going to exactly happen in that particular market at any one point in time, using blockchain, using cryptocurrencies to be able to purchase that real estate, and what your potential value is going to be at any one point in time, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, but not like it is like in a Zillow, but I mean, deeply understand it. Is this an investment or not? And how can I make those transactions easy? So I see artificial intelligence speeding it up. I see artificial intelligence make it smarter. I see artificial intelligence help those cybersecurity models to be able to do it better.
You mentioned building blocks. Mitja, I'm going to come to you. Where does identity go from here? Yeah. Where does identity play a role in two pieces? Part one, in the stack as a building block in the future of applications, but more importantly, the impact of our lives around the financial infrastructure that's being updated.
That's a long question, but okay, I'll try to summarize. So I think the cool thing is, at least for us, is that it all kind of like starts with identity. So identity is a permission to act. So in a way, we also have to look at identity from different perspectives. Like it's not just authorization, it's also verifications and identification as well. I would like to go back to what Gary said, because I think kind of answers the question as well. The way we see the world in the future is not that like there's going to be a ton of AI. I mean, there's always going to be the AI, and the world is going that way. But right now, if I want to go somewhere and on any fintech platform, they employ AI to kind of see whether I'm a bad actor or not. We are trying to flip this like the record around and say, hey, why don't we give the people the power so that they can build their own identities in a decentralized manner, which means that there's no central authority that's going to say, oh, you should trust this identity or not. but we give them in a way to kind of say like, okay, I don't know, hundreds of credentials maybe because I've been building my identity for 5 years, and this is a long-term vision. It's not something that's going to happen tomorrow. But just imagine if I come to the bank today and say, look, you can check, like verify, like you can go like you can use the blockchain or whatever to verify that I've held tens of bank accounts in my past. I've I don't know, cross-bordered so many times. I've held this and this government IDs and so on. And then it's going to become very hard to be a bad actor. And this is what I guess Globali is also kind of striving for. It's going to, we're building mechanisms where it's going to be not just hard, it's going to be unsustainable and even at the end of the day cost prohibitive to become a bad actor and to kind of like just for people to counterfeit trust. I hope that kind of answers your question, because this is the way at least myself see identity play a big role. There's a bunch of other things like the travel rule that and there's a lot of regulation that still needs to be kind of like needs to accept this digital identity as something that's actually a good in the world, and not because currently what we've been observing is really, I don't know, everybody's trying to kind of like make sure that this is not going to be just like, I don't know, change everything that we're doing today, and everybody's afraid of the change, but the change is coming, it's here. So I can see slowly all the fintechs start to adopt different technologies, and it's also good for them because all of a sudden that security aspect, they won't have to hold as much PII, for example. They won't have to, they'll have to maybe focus on storing their private keys securely, but not millions of people. And then maybe Equifax is like hacks on Equifax are not going to happen. And our PII is still going to be safe. I mean, it's too late for us, I think, because most of our PII is already out there on the dark web. But hopefully those are the things that identity will change, especially decentralized identity. And it's the future that I want my kids to live in, actually, because I do think for us it's a little bit too late. I don't want to be too dark on this.
No, it's perfect. So real quick, we're going to come around for closing thoughts, but that was a perfect one for you to end on, I think. Where can everyone find you, Mitja, along with Global ID, to continue the conversation if they're looking to build the future of DID, decentralized identity?
So very easily, just go to global.id, download the app. If you go in, you will have we have, for example, my Global ID name is M, so it's very easy. Just ping me in Global ID and we'll talk.
There you go. Adrian, closing thought, where can everyone find you?
As a closing thought, learn as much possible about the cryptocurrencies. Use them. Don't just hold them. Find their utility, if any, and be part of the journey. It's a great thing that we can be part of the system and influence the system. Even, I don't know, the little guys can do that, which is cool. Until something else better will be invented, my main communication hub is LinkedIn. So please contact me there. I always respond, not all the time immediately. Thank you very much for having me here today in the VC family, VCTV family. Can't wait to come back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adrian. Gary, close us out. Closing thoughts, where can you be found?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely, Kyle. So, as I've said many times, intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities aren't. And where we are today with blockchain, with crypto, it's really leveling the playing field so we can all participate. And it's really encouraging. It's a great time. The digital transformation has pushed us forward far faster than we would have gone if the COVID hadn't occurred. So it's an exciting time. Just keep your eyes wide open. Make sure you do research. Don't blindly get into crypto unless you understand a bit about it. My name's Gary Fowler, and you can reach me on LinkedIn, Gary Fowler. You can reach me on Twitter, and I have shows a couple of times a week. Check them out. We have incredible folks on the shows, including you, Kyle.
Thank you very much all for your time today and the great thoughts and input on to where this industry is going. To our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, make sure you click subscribe, like, and share the episode, and make sure to reach out to all of us, including our co-hosts today, to continue the conversation. Make sure you add context where you heard us, where you met us, what you would like to continue the conversation about, as we'd all love to hear more and talk further with each of you. With that being said, we'll see you back here in just a little bit with more VCTV. And a big thank you to the LaToken team and to Maria for making today's episode possible. You can find out more on latoken.com and hear from today's speakers and all speakers of the VCTV family. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me, again, with all of our co-hosts on social media, and we'll see you there. We'll be back here in just a few minutes with more VCTV.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Kyle.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, everybody.